this. I'm joined in the studio by Paris-based freelance journalist Cole Stangler. Thanks for being with us on France 24. Now, first of all, previous efforts at getting together a united industrial action against President Macron's attempts at reform, pretty significant reforms that he's got in the pipeline, have fallen flat. Today seems to have been a bit more successful. Why do you think that is?
I think the big difference is that the reforms that people are mobilizing against today really have direct impacts on people's work. So we're talking about these rail reforms that are going to decrease job security for railroad workers. They're going to lower the retirement age, which is really in contrast to what happened last fall, where you had unions trying to mobilize people based on a kind of abstract idea, which was how to combat these labor law reforms. This, I think, touches people more directly. And you're seeing also with the nice weather, people are turning out as well.
Nice weather, I hadn't noticed. That seems pretty chilly to me. But as you mentioned, I mean, this was all started by the rail workers, this latest round of strikes. Essentially, they want to protect what is a very generous pension that they will look forward to. They can retire very young. You know, with a lot of people struggling at the moment, do you think that the public will support these strikes?
Yeah, so you have this kind of contradiction where, on the one hand, if you interview people, if you poll people just on what their opinions are about these special employment advantages that rail workers get, which just to be clear, this is enhanced job security and a better retirement age, earlier retirement age, people tend to say, okay, maybe it's a little bit generous, we're against it. On the other hand, if you poll people based on do they support the social movement, do they support the movement that was today, for example, people supported that, just over 50% of the population. So you have this contradiction, which also explains the dilemma that unions have, which is how do you mobilize people behind a broader agenda? If they're going to have success here, it can't just be about preserving the advantages that rail workers get. It has to be about a broader defense of public services, which is the entire message that organized labor here is trying to advance here. They see these reforms that are going after rail workers as really the first steps of a full-blown privatization of the rail system, the kind that we see in the UK, for example.
So kind of at first they came for the rail workers' pensions, then they came for mine. That's the mindset. Okay, well, I mean, Macron is far from the first French president to try and tackle these special protections for public sector workers. Is he going to succeed?
Well, it's very difficult to predict the future. Macron has said that they're going to stick with these reforms, and his government has made that case very clearly. Then again, it wouldn't be inconceivable to see them, change to modify under pressure. This is something that they actually did with the labor reforms last fall. Faced with strikes from truckers, they actually cut a side deal for truckers. So it's not inconceivable to see the government maybe relenting on some aspects of these reforms. But really also depends on public opinion. It depends on how many people turn out for these strikes. And we have another day that's been announced by the CGT in mid-April. You have the railway strikes that are going to be going on in the beginning of April until the end of June. So there's really a lot to see here, and it depends on how those strike numbers are, and depends on public opinion.
Okay, Cole Stangler.